Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I bring to you Keith Burke.
What's happening?
From Blunt Force Inc. Keith, you are ICB and UCC Heavyweight champion, as you can see. What inspired you to pursue a boxing career in the first place?
Jesus, I suppose we'll use that term loosely anyway. Yes, I always refer to this as crossover boxing as opposed to real boxing. I've been a fight fan for forever.
Yeah.
I mean, way back to when I was a young fella, I remember staying up late. Ricky Hatton versus Mayweather was the first time I actually stayed up to watch a fight.
Yeah.
And then obviously I became a massive UFC fan, where you'd pay for Satanta Sports back in the day. And
Yeah.
You'd stay up and watch it
Till 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? It was a case of I became a UFC fan because I was a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And then for anyone who is aware, then obviously Brock Lesnar became a UFC fighter, and I was like, oh, fucking, this is, I was hyped on that. And then, of course, Mr. McGregor took the entire world by the storm.
Yeah.
And
he had us all up till all night.
he had
waiting,
he
waiting
keeps
for a fight, and then in the last 3 seconds, you're like, "Ah!"
keeping credit unions in business for the last 10 years with everyone heading to Vegas and fucking Dubai, whatever.
Yeah.
But I would have been friends with a lot of those guys who were involved with Team McGregor for the longest time, and I've been to Connor's debut and stuff, and that's it. I just I'm a sports fan, I'm a fight fan, and in terms of the crossover boxing, obviously I'd built a name for myself and some notoriety through the tattoo industry.
Yeah.
Doing conventions, being in magazines, videos and all that kind of stuff, partnerships with companies. So I suppose that's where my content creation comes from creating art.
Yeah.
Maybe more permanent than others.
Yeah.
But that's where I suppose my fan following came from and my support came from. And then it just came down to the likes of Conor Ryan, being like a client, for example, and a close friend. And then that's how I knew the likes of Ben Williams and stuff. And we became very, very close and good friends. And Ben had mentioned that he was doing the UCC, which is obviously the first ever content creator fight league in Ireland.
Brilliant concept. It's amazing.
Yeah,
isn't
it is, because you know what? There's a lot of beef in the content scene. You see a lot of people on TikTok talking shit to one another.
Yeah.
And now we finally have a venue where you can settle all those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
they
fantastic.
do be, and because we covered the UCC gig the last time, and there's serious beef between some of them, like,
and even
grudge matches.
The night of the event, there was beef playing out with other people and whatever else. And I'm actually delighted that it took off and did so well as it did, because now I think people, because they've seen it, it's not just a pipe dream or a fugazi. There's actually, this is how we did it. We sold it out. The stream did great. The fights were great. Everyone had a good positive response. And now it's like, even speaking to Ben earlier today, like the response for UCC2 is mental, because everyone believes in it now. I
have people messaging me saying, will you ask Ben to be on the next card? And I'm like, hold your horses, I don't even know when it is yet.
But that's even like, I remember obviously won the belts December 16th. I woke up the following morning and I had every Tom, Dick and Harry offer me for a fight, you know what I mean? And I was like, Jesus Christ. Now, luckily, I've been able to rein in a manager in Stephen from TNT Fight Promotions in the States. And he sieves out all the bullshit for me now, thank God. I'm not getting DMs.
So Dave's to go through him now.
Yeah, exactly. Where I'm like, just contact my management team, you know what I mean? Not to be like, big-headed and sucking my own dick around, but it's a case of like, I just don't want to be getting DMs from Johnny from the Flats being like, I'll have a knock off you, know what I mean? So he gets to sort the wood from the trees, thank God.
That's good. Yeah, that takes a bit of pressure off you. Right, as the ICB and UCC Heavyweight champion, what would be your most memorable moment in the ring?
I think, you know what, it's been well publicized and well spoken on, whether positive or negative. I broke down into fucking tears after that fight.
Yeah.
There was a lot of emotion in that camp, in my personal life or whatever else. One of the main driving factors for me even being involved in that scene was a very close friend of mine, David. We lost him, unfortunately, to mental health about 2 years ago.
Right.
And he boxed with Treaty Boxing in Limerick, so he would have been friends with like Paddy Donovan, Lee Reeves, who we grew up with and stuff like that. And then I was like, right, okay, well, this is a perfect outlet for, I think for me, a lot of people had suggested that maybe I should have gone to like grief counseling or whatever else, because I took that loss of a person in my life very, very harsh.
Yes.
But I kind of found a lot of solace in the prep for that boxing fight.
Yeah.
It was, I suppose, therapy in one sense, but it was, it gave me a sense of purpose, because I had suffered from a lot of mental health issues on my end from the back of that, like, a lot of depression and stuff like that, because somebody who was like my family.
Yes.
I don't really have a great family unit or whatever, but that person who was like a best friend, who became like my family, you know what I mean?
Like a brother.
Exactly.
Yes.
Closer if even possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then to lose him, it kind of like, it was just a kick in the dick, for the want of a better description. You know what I mean? It sucked. And then I remember I was going to maybe like my first boxing session. I just came back from New York from tattooing, and I was going to my first boxing session in the Coliseum with Stephen Ormond, my coach. And it was a memory on my phone. It popped up, and it was David, hitting pads with the guys in Limerick, whatever else. And I was like, all right, okay. I was like, I need to give everything to this training camp. I didn't know what came afterwards was going to happen. I just thought this would be a one-hit quit kind of thing. I started vlogging.
Give you a focus.
Yeah, exactly. Just a sense of purpose to get out of bed in the morning. You know what I mean? Because the downside is of the industry I'm in with tattooing, being self-employed and being like your own boss. It's a case of, if I want to call in sick, I don't have to ring anyone. I just fucking don't go in.
Yeah.
That kind of way. So there was many mornings where I was like in the height of it, mad low, and I just wouldn't get out of bed for the day.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like I had the purpose, like if I don't get out of my bed and I don't go run and do me 5K and don't go train, I'm gonna get my ass whooped.
Yeah, it's gonna fuck
in
up
front
your
of all
fight.
my friends and family. You know what I mean? So that was my main motivation. I moved down the country for just before the camp took full speed. I was out running at 5:30, 6 in the morning. And it was weird, because like I'm not really a spiritual or religious person, but I found myself, there's a certain point on my running route every morning where I just having full-blown conversations with my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like asking him questions or whatever, and and that was my main driving factor. And I think because I started talking about it and putting it out there more, it became more real. Then obviously people bought into it and were like supporting me. Then the ICB got on board and were like, fuck, we have like a person in Kieth who can like fly the flag for the organization and whatever else. And the same thing with the UCC. And it was just like, oh, this guy is like, it's more than just like he wants to have a knock with someone and wants to talk shit on social media. It was like, that's where a lot of the support and the fanfare came from for the UCC.
Yeah.
And then I'm luckily enough and I'm blessed that on the back of that, it's kind of catapulted me now
It's open
into
doors
the big scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
in a weird way, I'm kind of feeling like, oh well, me friend had me back, and he's kind of like, it's his fault that that's all happened. But yeah, it was just a case of like, I'm not gonna go to the extent to say that like maybe the UCC and the boxing saved my life, but it definitely put purpose back in my life.
Yes.
Because like, at that point, tattooing felt like a job. And I was a clock in, clock out kind of vibe, because I was like emotionally not there. And now it's like, because of the training and the sense of purpose and all the stuff that came with it, it's like put a pep back in my step, put a smile back in my face. And I feel like, I suppose without sounding too dramatic, it's like, oh, there's a reason to be like, all right, let's make this goal. And then in a year's time, let's do this and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's in a weird way, it's kind of played out beautifully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's made me excited for the future.
Yeah. Well, come here. That's a horrendous story, and no doubt that David was in the ring with you.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story. Jesus, how has the discipline of boxing then influenced your approach to other aspects in your life? Because obviously, if you were in a bad headspace at that time, probably drew you out of that a little bit.
It did indeed, because I remember like I went through a lot of stuff like from a personal point of view, where like I just didn't really give a fuck, for the want of a better description. You know what I mean? And for the boxing, then it was a case of like, you know, you, as they say, is you don't play boxing. You know what I mean? So what I did was, I just sought out the best possible coaching and advisory and help I possibly could. But yeah, I suppose from the discipline point of view, it all kind of boils back to, no one wants to get knocked out in front of their friends and family. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then because I am such a supporter of boxing, I'm such a fan, I think the sport deserves a level of respect too.
Yes.
Because anyone who steps into the ring, first of all, it takes guts and courage. Second of all, we're all only one shot away from being like physically damaged for forever.
Yeah.
So you need to be putting the best possible preparation you possibly can in.
That's it. We've seen people die in the ring.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that is the fucking case, and it's the brass tacks of it. So you need to give yourself the best possible chance to not only be successful but also be protected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the referee and everything can only do so much. It's on you then to do the work.
Yeah.
You know? And I had this conversation with a couple of influencer boxers in my division on Twitter, and I was like, see this talk of you saying, oh, this person's a bum, I'm only going to train for a week and whatever else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck all that shit. The sport deserves more respect than
It does, yeah.
And that's the angle I'm coming at from.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm in the influencer crossover space, but I'm like, put some respect back on the fucking name of boxing, because same thing. I had the same vibe when it came to tattooing. There was too many people bastardizing the industry.
Yeah.
There's too many people bastardizing boxing.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, no, this fucking sport will be there long after all this stuff is over and done with. And I had a conversation with an interviewer last week where I was like, I'm fucking here to beat some respect back into the sport from these people who aren't showing it any.
Yeah.
And that's just the facts.
And no, you're right. And there are a lot that aren't showing it any.
Of course there is.
Really. That's another thing that I was coming to. Balancing like a really successful career in both sports and like art requires serious dedication. Like, how do you manage your time effectively to excel in both?
To be fair, I'm not. I would like to say,
because you're not a mediocre tattoo artist, and you're not a mediocre boxer either. It's you're all or nothing with you. I think
that's my personality. To be fair, like a very 100% or nothing at all. You know, kind of way. I'm balancing it right now. I've kind of like, as I was touching on it earlier, I've promised myself like 18-24 months, see what comes out of this boxing space, because I'm enjoying it. It's giving me like, I'm getting a lot of fulfillment from it, and personally, I feel like I'm in great shape. It's nice to wake up in the morning and be like, oh fuck, I look good, you know, that kind of way. A lot of the Twitter space people are calling me the heavyweight poster boy. Yeah, is what I was coined this morning on Twitter or whatever. Heavyweight poster boy. I think it's just like, but that's also coming from the guys who could do with a training bra and a fucking, you know what I mean, and a diet. But in case of like, in the case of like balancing both, it's quite hard, because in the tattoo realm, there's more to it than just that initial appointment between 12 to 6.
Yes.
There's you know, references, and there's drawing, and there's homework. I wasn't the best person in school, and now I have a job that involves homework, you know, it's a pain in the bollocks. But there's all the preparation that goes into it. Plus then you spend your day 5-6 hours speaking to a person, so when you go home your social battery is kind of zapped. Yeah. Because you're trying to give, you want to give a good tattoo, but you also want that person who's saved up their money to pay for it to have a great experience and leave not only with a new piece of art on them, but to be buzzing and being like, I had a fucking great day. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so my responsibility is to make sure that person, you know, gets my full attention. Yeah. And like, we're cracking jokes and telling stories all day long, because it is such a personable like scenario. And then in terms of boxing, then it's like, I'm just trying to balance the training and the diet and everything else with the tattooing. I'm lucky in the sense that obviously I own my own private space now. You know, if I want to work 3 or 4 days a week, I can. If I want to work 6 or 7, I can. Yeah. And
like, it's an amazing studio.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I obviously have big plans for the future and stuff. But we'll get there in the end. I never really wanted to be a shop owner. But here we are. Circumstances. I never wanted to be a boxer either, but here we are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Life throws curveballs at you every now and again. I suppose I don't really have an answer for the balance. I'm just trying to take it every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as it comes. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Just trying to fit it all into your 24 hours and then 100%. Try and get a bit of kick in between as well. Boxing and tattooing as well, it's physically demanding. also.
Yeah.
Like, how do you maintain your physical and mental health?
The physical health, a case of, what I will say is, because I diet quite heavily for boxing. I mean, I walk around still 18 stone.
Yeah.
But I still calorie count every single day. The only day I didn't calorie count was Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I got weighed in for the UCC and
You didn't want to get
fight.
a shock at the end of the day.
Yeah, just a case of like, I knew there was a fight coming on St. Patrick's weekend, and I thought that the gap between the UCC and when I would start camp for that, I didn't want to put myself in such a hole that I had to climb out of a hole first before I started work.
I got you. Yeah.
So I trained the whole way through Christmas, dieted. I weighed in for the title fight in the Red Cow at 252. I'm walking around at 254 now, so I've only put on 2 pounds. So
cool.
As a wise man once said, I survived Christmas. So
That's deadly. That is good.
And that just comes down to the discipline and whatever else. I think that's also lends itself to my personality traits.
Yeah.
Where I'm all in.
Because you are in a spot like in here, if you're here all day tattooing, it's easy to just like run down and grab a burger or something where you can't really do that. Like,
no, I can't. I have a really good team around me, and that's the thing. Same with tattooing, for example, and like, you know, with the boxing, I wanted to get the best possible coaching. I wanted to get the best possible nutrition. I wanted no guesswork whatsoever. So if I'm doing this, I'm doing it all in.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, because I don't want to. If I show up on fight day or a weigh-in day or the fight has just happened, I don't want it to be a case of, fuck, I could have done this.
Yeah.
I want no stone unturned.
Yeah.
Because not only does the sport deserve it, but I deserve it to myself as well. You have to, you know, what you put in, you'll get out.
Yeah.
And it's like, even the result of the title fight in the warehouse before Christmas, I knew I was winning that fight. I knew the whole way through those 8 weeks I was winning that fight, because my head was where I'm willing to light myself on fire to burn you.
Yeah.
And I'd walked through so much shit in my personal life and my professional life that I was like, a couple of fucking smacks isn't going to do nothing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
when
I knew,
you've already been to hell,
and that's
no
it.
more
Like, I knew it
like.
after the first round of that fight that Jake had thrown his best shots at me, and I was like, oh, you're fucked now.
Yeah.
There's a video, I watched the fight back about a fortnight after it, and there's a video where I'm like, we're coming out for the second round, and I'm just like, oh, it's fucking real now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he was a great boxer.
Oh,
but
he was a great fighter, MMA fighter,
outclassed.
like, you know what I mean? And it was a case of like, it was just who was willing to go more. You know what I mean? And that's the case, and that's the same thing with all these other fights are coming out, because you have all these other big influencers calling me out for big fights and whatever else, and I'm like, yeah, cool. But while you're at home playing Minecraft, I'm fucking training. And while you're sleeping, I'm running the fucking roads of Bray. You know
while your mummy's making your bed for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Brilliant. As a champion in two diverse fields, what advice would you give to someone looking to pursue multiple passions and succeed in both? Because for you, I think it's a keeping your head together thing. Like, you're like, go, 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 go. But not everybody has probably been...
No.
Life has to kick the shit out of you.
Of course it does,
for you to have that.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially because the day and age we live in, especially with the likes of like social media and stuff like that, it's it can be hard to get down on yourself, because it's everyone's highlight reel versus your behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've spoken about that in the past, where like, I'll put a photo up and I'll be like, at a tattoo convention or at something, and then I'll be like, but I had a meltdown half an hour before that photo. Yeah. But no one knows that. Yeah. You know what I mean? In terms of, you know what, the best thing I can do is like, just don't fucking listen to the outside noise. Mm-hmm. I spent years, and I still do it to a certain extent, trying to pacify everyone, being like, oh fuck, I hope that group of people like me, and I hope, you know, I'm not doing anything to piss this section of people off and whatever else. And that's even like where the whole Blunt Force Inc. and Blunt Force Kieth thing came from. I created and curated this attitude and this, I suppose, persona and character years ago, where I was like, fuck all of you. Yeah. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. And you know what? I even to this day, I live it as much as I possibly can. Sometimes it can be difficult, because obviously, you know, you have that doubt in the back of your head, that imposter syndrome that comes out every now and again, because I suffer with that every now and again. But I've stayed true to myself as best I possibly could. Yeah. I've said, this is my goal, this is what I want to do, and I've gone and fucking done it. Yeah. And I've tried to whether it be me getting on international conventions or me getting in fucking magazines and whatever else. I got there because I was like, fuck all of you, this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to stop until I get there.
Yeah.
Because if I spent all right, for example, if I had spent time listening to those who are around me over the last year, I'd have never boxed.
No, exactly. Yeah.
There was people around me who I thought that were friends of mine that were like, why do we want to go see you get knocked out?
Mm-hmm.
If I'd listened to them, I would have pulled out of that fight.
Yeah.
There was people around me being like, why are you going to the UK non-stop to do conventions and to do magazines and whatever else? If I'd listened to them, I would have never been internationally published. I'd have never done all the biggest shows in fucking the UK.
Yeah.
I'd have never been invited to North America to tattoo. I'd have never got a business visa to go work in North America whenever the fuck I feel like.
Yeah.
I'd have never had 2 belts in front of me.
No.
I'd have never accomplished fuck all.
Yeah.
And I'd never be out the door busy.
Yeah.
If I spend time worrying about what they fucking think, and projecting their shit on me, then I wouldn't have got nowhere.
And I don't think friends and family I don't think they think before they speak.
No.
Like I even feel that, you know, you'd be very surprised by some people, you know, that you think they're going to be in my corner, they're going to love this, what I'm about to do. And then you tell them and they're like, oh, are you sure?
I think, you know, I was trying to pinpoint this a couple of weeks ago when I was having a conversation with a few friends. We suffer, especially in Ireland in particular, from crabs in a bucket syndrome is what it's called. So if you have 10 crabs and you put them in a bucket and one crab tries to climb out of that bucket, the other 9 will try and pull him down before they try and climb out.
Right. Yeah.
So if you think about that, think about it again.
Yeah.
So that one person who's trying to aspire to something greater, the other 9 around him will pull that person down.
Yeah.
Him or she, whatever.
Yeah.
Pull them down before they try and get themselves out as well. And we suffer from that in the society, especially in this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And you know what? I'm starting to see that more and more as the years and months go on.
Because as they say, the nail that sticks out gets hammered.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I had more family and friends around me when I was on my fucking knees.
Of course
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the more I kind of come on in life as
and
well,
that's shit.
It dwindles away.
It's shit.
But it doesn't matter. I'm happy in myself.
Yeah,
Happier,
absolutely.
obviously,
and
in myself.
What comes with that is you have to have like a callous brain and a callous exterior to that shit to be like, you know what, I don't need to listen to this noise.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I worry about that on a daily basis or whatever else. I'm just glad that I have a good team around me, whether it be in tattooing or in boxing or in my personal life, that I can lean on to ask their opinion in those moments where I'm having self-doubt.
Yeah.
But it's something that is in every walk of life in this country, and everyone experiences it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I notice it even now that like I'm getting a bit of notoriety with the boxing or whatever else and all this kind of shit, and people leaving mean comments and stuff like that, and I'm like, look, it is what it is.
Yeah. How do you deal with the comments? That wasn't even in my questions. But do you know what? I struggle with the comments.
I'll be honest with you.
Abuse.
I get dogs abuse on TikTok.
Yeah, me
for
too.
example, right? And it's fucking horrible, and I just have to sit there and go, right, okay, what have I done in the last 12 months? And what has user 964181100 done?
Yeah,
in the
sitting
last,
in his ma's box room.
You know what I mean? And I sometimes, because I had made a conscious effort to clap back at them, I'd make videos and because I get the whole like, oh, the fucking stadium with tattoos and blah blah blah.
I think your tattoos are fucking
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. And I had done that because those videos were getting good traction for me because it was me just being like, all right man, relax.
Yeah.
But now it's just a case of like, look, it is what it is. I mean, if you go on to any person of notoriety, like, you know, whether it be a celebrity or a musician or a model or whatever else, you keep scrolling far enough, you'll find someone talking shit about them.
Yeah.
But the way I'm trying to view it now, and because I'm lucky in the sense that like I'm friends with the likes of Ben Williams and a couple more guys who are like, you know, very, very out there and top of their game.
Yeah, and driven.
And
like,
yeah, exactly.
So driven, like.
And, you know, Ben had put it perfectly and beautifully a few weeks ago when we were chatting. He was like, man, I ain't got fucking time to read the comments.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that actually is. Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
right,
he's
okay.
fucking right.
He's like, freaking bollocks. He goes, they're commenting, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Little do they know the fucking idiots. They're just helping the algorithm to bring more to your, you know, more views to your page. What future goals do you have in both boxing and tattoo artistry, and how do you see your career evolving in the coming years?
In terms of tattooing, obviously I've got the private space here now. I've a couple of very close friends, tattooers and stuff, traveling from both in Ireland and outside of Ireland to come and guest here and hang out and whatever else. Because I think like Dublin is a hub of tattooing anyway, and I want to show friends that I have from further afield, whether it be, let's say, outside of Dublin or in the UK or America, whatever, exactly what Irish tattooing has to offer. So I want to bring them here, get them to experience Irish culture, take them for a drink, bring them to the storehouse, all that kind of stuff, hang out for a few days. So that's my plan for here. Just kind of like just I suppose expose a lot of my friends to the Irish tattoo culture. And then, I mean, next month I'm in Brighton Tattoo Convention, which is, you know, anyone who knows anything about tattooing will know exactly what Brighton Tattoo Convention means. That's the big one on the calendar every year.
Yeah.
Then I'll be in Leeds Tattoo Convention. I've agreed to do Golden State in Sacramento in September.
Cool.
So I did New York last September. I'm going to do the West Coast this September, which I'm looking forward to. So I feel like where I'm at in my career, I've kind of leveled up in the state of conventions.
Yeah.
So I'm at the next level of like very prestigious shows to be involved in, which I'm very lucky
Like, there's
for.
a serious waiting list for you now, isn't there?
Mental. I mean, someone messaged me earlier and they were like, "When can you get me in?" And I was like, "I can tattoo you in June if you want." I don't even know what I'm doing next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I'm like,
exactly.
I can tattoo you in June. So I'm very lucky to have a loyal clientele and people, because from a business point of view, I try to look after people.
Yeah.
And there was a great phrase I learned from an old school tattooer years and years ago, before I even picked up a machine. And he said, the one bit of advice I'll give you when it comes to customers is, if you can learn one piece of advice about every customer you tattoo, that you'll guarantee you'll have no issues with filling your books ever again. So if someone comes in and goes, "Oh, I'm going to Benidorm with my family next week," and then as they're leaving go, "Here, John, make sure you enjoy Benidorm. I'll see you when you get back, and make sure you don't get sunburnt," right? When he comes back in the next time I see him, go, "John, come here. So how'd you get on Benidorm?"
Yes.
Automatically makes that person feel at home, makes them feel like they're wanted.
Yeah.
And I've used that little bit of a tip that I learned a long time ago the whole way through my tattoo career. And my books, the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reviews speak for themselves. So that's my plan, is just to keep plugging away with the tattoo. In terms of boxing, I am, what day is today? Thursday. I am currently 7 weeks out from my next fight.
Ooh, you said March, is it?
Yes, so Paddy's weekend. Yeah. So
where's this?
So when does this podcast go out?
Tomorrow.
So I think the press release will probably be launched by then.
Okay.
So because
I'm
working on American time, so everything I do is 6 hours delayed because it's all going through Florida.
Right.
I will be boxing on Hype Boxing in Tampa, Florida, Paddy's weekend. So Paddy's falls on the Sunday this year, so it'll be the Saturday, 16th of March. Opponent I can't speak on just yet.
Yeah.
I can confirm it will be an ICB world title eliminator fight. So the winner of that will fight for the world title of this in America. It'll be streamed live around the world via DAZN.
Yeah.
So I'm hyped on that, because I hope a lot of people will be getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning to watch me fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the plan with that. I'm in the ticket training now for that with Steo out in the Coliseum.
Well, Steo Ormond is your coach. Steo is amazing, and he was a professional boxer himself.
We have a love-hate relationship. So last week he was kicking me in the ribs. This week he was punching me in the stomach.
He means well.
I think he's just jealous of my height. That's
That's what it is.
So the plan is, obviously, I just got back from Leeds for Misfits 12. Spoke to a couple of people there involved with the company and other fighters, whatever. There is a heavyweight fight taking place between Bad Boy Beeman and Gary Olive, probably on Misfits 13 or 14.
Yeah.
But I think the main aim is to have our boy Ben Williams fight in Dublin.
Yeah.
In the Tree Arena, sometime spring, summer, maybe against Jarvis for the Misfits title. And I would like to be on the supporting card for that. So Get past America, maybe bring the world title fight back to Dublin on Ben's undercard. And just put, as we said last weekend when we were over in Leeds, it's Irish's time to take over. You know what I mean?
Well, we've a full year of boxing now.
Well, that's it.
Because we've obviously UCC 002.
Yes.
And we've also got the JV boxing promotion. So we have that's 10 fights.
I know, and I have to say, actually, a massive shout out to Jay Byrne, for the simple reason is, as a boxing purist, massive fan, a personal friend to the likes of Graham McCormick, Lee Reeves, obviously the guys like Sinan in Coliseum and stuff like that.
Brilliant, isn't
putting these guys, giving them a platform.
Yeah.
Because I think the hardest thing when it comes to the professional game is getting the platform.
Yeah.
And it's so nice for the domestic scene because of obviously all the stuff that had gone on with the Regency and stuff like that. We've been starved of pro boxing in Ireland for so long.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I seen Katie Taylor fight live, but I seen Katie Taylor fight live in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see her in Ireland first. You know what I mean? I had to travel to support our fighters.
Yeah.
Or the GOAT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she is.
She is.
And it's great to go down to the warehouse, to sit there ringside and watch professional boxing like on your doorstep.
Yeah.
You know, which I'd urge anybody who hasn't got tickets to get tickets and come to the fights. There's obviously one in February and one in March, which are going to be unbelievable.
There's two in March. There's one in February. That's sold out. I think actually the other day there was 15 tickets left, so I presume they're sold out now.
Which is basically fuck all.
Then there's the 1st of March, and a week later the 8th of March as
Class.
well, and then I think 25th of May, and so
Yeah.
But in total, there's one being done. I think one was in November, so there's still 9 left, which will take
class.
us to the end of the year.
You know what I mean?
And then with UCC as well. So
There you go.
I mean, I think our weekends are booked out now.
But that's the thing as well. It's just like I think, you know, everybody is starting to get back enthusiastic from, you know, on the tail end of COVID, for example. Everyone's going out and they're buying tickets to events and going to these things, and the most important thing is they're supporting hometown promotions, they're supporting hometown fighters and whatever else. And you want to get behind these guys because these are the guys who are going to be paying subscription fees to watch fight in the Tree Arena and all these other arenas in years to come.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
and I think it's really important because if you look at the likes of young Ben Williams as well, like, I mean, he's 20 years old and look at what he's achieving already. Like, that man he's going everywhere. He's not just going places, he's going fucking everywhere.
I was having dinner about 10 days ago and I was having a conversation with his mum. And I was like, I forget how old your young fella is all the time because when we're talking, I'm in my 30s and he speaks like a person 10 years older than he actually is.
He's very mature.
He's clued in, like, you know what I mean?
So
he knows the sauce.
And that probably as well, because he is so into his boxing and fitness and everything else, he's very level-headed and, you know, most young lads his age will be out on the rip all weekend and, you know, running amok, like, but this, I think, it keeps you in. It keeps you focused. So you know that if you go on the rip from Friday till Sunday, your week's training is fucked. You might as well not done any of it. You know what I mean? So it does.
Just undoing all the hard work you did.
Yeah.
And what I love the most, and I have to give credit for him, my hat's off to him again, is the fact that not only is he doing this for himself, but he gave the likes of me and stuff a platform too. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he reached out to me.
All the influencers, you know.
Of course. And that's the thing is, like, you know, I would never have, like, if it wasn't for Ben, I wouldn't have had these 2 titles. I wouldn't have had the connections and made the friendships I did through the UCC and stuff like that. And I wouldn't be going to Florida to fight these fights. No. So I know obviously he's 12 years my junior, but at the same time I'm like, I credit a lot of my progression to him opening the door for all of us. I said it last week when he came back ringside after his fight in Misfits. I was like, he's blown the door open for all of us Irish.
He kicked them doors open.
I mean?
He booted them in.
This stuff, you know. So I mean, that's the thing as well, isn't, like, I've done, since Misfits, I've done 6 interviews with media outlets online in regards to me being involved in Misfits. And it was just me there with the titles, being in Ben's corner, being like, oh, fuck, these Irish lads aren't fucking about. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not only can we have the gift of the gab, but we can actually back it up as well, you know? So it's kind of like, I was there for, let's say, Connor's surgence in the UFC, and in a little bit of a different space, it's the same thing where a lot of them now are sitting back going, oh shit, maybe we should have taken notice. These lads aren't fucking about. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about the whole thing. It's like, even now I'm like, right, do you want to go for a jog? Like, you know, let's go. You know?
You can go for your jog in a few minutes, but first I have 2 would you rather questions for you. I thought I'd hit you with a curveball. Right. Would you rather have a rematch with your toughest opponent or create a tattoo for your favourite celebrity? Ooh.
I'm going to have to say create a tattoo for my favourite celebrity. I've been lucky in the sense of, obviously I've tattooed the likes of Thomas Carty and a lot of Sinead Kavanagh and a lot of people from like sports and backgrounds too I admire. My favourite thing about tattooing is I love the conversations. Yes. You know what I mean? It can be an elaborate like counselling session for some people, but I love hearing people's stories and stuff like that. And what, like, even I always said if I won the Euro Millions tomorrow, I'd still tattoo because I love the conversation of it. Yeah. And like getting to know people and stuff like that. Like even the first time I tattooed Thomas, he had just got back from training with Anthony Joshua, and me being a fight fan, I was like, what was that like?
Oh my God,
how hard
how tall is
and all that
he?
kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I suppose I would definitely pick creating a tattoo for my favorite celebrity, because I'd probably have an arm's length of questions for them while they're there. You know what I mean?
And who would it be?
Ooh, I'm a massive football fan.
Yeah.
I've been trying to tattoo a member of the football.
Yeah, you're an Arsenal fan, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
I've reached out to the likes of Harvey Elliott and stuff, because I have a plug within the Premier League for tickets and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to reach out to one of the footballers, because in case anyone noticed, footballers have atrocious tattoos. They're fucking shocking.
Yeah, they are. Right?
And like, you're like a multi-millionaire. Why are you getting that tripe on you? So I mean, I would love to maybe tattoo the likes of like Steven Gerrard or Jamie Carragher or someone, just so I could hear their stories.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Of like all the matches I watched growing up. And
Yeah.
Can you replay what it was like to be at Istanbul and all that kind of stuff? So probably a footballer, to be fair.
Yeah, and what you're saying even about conversations with people in the tattoos. Originally, I met you in a barber shop because I'm a barber as well, and I love. That's what I love about my job. I don't like getting up and going to work. Of course, nobody does. But once I get there, like, it only takes one person to come in. It makes your fucking day having the conversation with
Once
that
you have
person.
that first sip of coffee, and then you're going, "How are you getting on?" And
there's
like,
so many, like, every character, every person that walks in your doors is a completely different character. And I love people, and I think it's the barber and COVID actually was great for me because I couldn't work. I started doing the live interviews on Instagram, which led me to the podcast, which led me to this. Do you know what I mean?
But I feel like you probably had grown a natural ability to speak to people through your job.
Through barbers,
You know what I mean? Whereas like, you don't have that, like, you know, you have the natural icebreaker questions and stuff like that because you do it every single day.
Yeah.
Same as like anybody who works in personal service, because you have to have that kind of like, you know, that approachable kind of manner about you.
Absolutely.
And then you know the questions to ask and what ones not to ask and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So like, that's why it's a perfect fit then for you to do the podcasting, because you literally do a live podcast every 40 minutes in work. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, that's exactly how it is. Yeah. And you can actually make someone's day just by letting them vent whatever. If they're having a shit time, like, you hear horror stories. Like,
of course you do. And, absolutely.
And it's the people tell you things like in a setting like yours or mine that they would probably not tell their best friend or their parents or their wife.
I see it all the time where like people will come in and they'll share something personal with me, and then when they come back in, so remember I was telling you before, the conversation will continue. You know what I mean?
It's amazing.
And
I like incredible friendships,
because it absolutely, and it puts you in a sense of, you know, you have a responsibility to look after those people, but it also, it's nice because it gives you a sense of like they have trust in you.
Yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Same as like with barbering, they go to the same barber. When it comes to tattooing, they go to the same tattooer.
Yeah.
You know
I was
what I mean?
devastated when you moved away. It was the handiest haircut I ever had to do. Expose those tattoos. And one more, would you rather? If you could collab with any boxer, alive or past, would you rather tattoo them or fight them? And who would it be?
Right, so I'd mentioned earlier that I'll be traveling to Saudi Arabia for the Tyson Fury and Usyk fight here in the middle of February. I'm a massive Tyson Fury fan, and I have been, even way before his comeback with the mental health and whatever else I was aware of, because a lot of people don't know Tyson was meant to fight amateur for Ireland. Right. So he was actually meant to fight for us and go to the Olympics and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
Then, like most things, the British claimed him. So if you go back through his lineage and stuff like that, he actually fought a couple of amateur tournaments for Ireland. Yeah. And then obviously got claimed by Britain and X, Y, and Z. I suppose I would pick Tyson just for the example of, I think he would be a fantastic mind to ask questions to. I don't want to fight him though. Yeah. That's definitely not, because he's the fucking pound for pound king. Yeah. He's the gypsy king. He'd chin me inside less than one. So at least in the tattoo setting, I'm in charge. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just think that at least in a tattoo set, like, I'll probably drag out for a few hours and ask him more questions than I probably would have more time for. So yeah, someone like Tyson, I think he's a fantastic brain. I think he's a fantastic fighter. What he's done for mental health is amazing. As he still battles through his mental health issues every single day, which is well documented.
And men do, well, and women do as well, but I think women find it easier to go and talk to people and get help. Now, I've done that over the years. It doesn't suit me. I don't like talking about shit, so I just know I'll deal with it. But it's a big deal for men. That's why I think this sport it's really important for anybody with any mental health issues. All sport, it's really important because it's an outlet, it's an escape, and for just an hour out of the day, you can just be somewhere else and not in your shit, like in the problems.
What I admire most about him is not only is the heavyweight champion in the world, a lot of people could deem sharing your issues with mental health as a weakness. And to a credit and to a certain point, you have to agree that I don't want to give my opponent an inch. I don't want to give them anything they could say in a press conference interview to rile me up and make me emotional, whatever else. And that doesn't stop him sharing his struggles. Yeah. And that's why I admire him so much. Yeah. And why I'm like gonna trek 18 fucking hours across the world to watch him box. Yeah. Because as I was saying earlier, it's like my dad's generation was Ali and Fraser in the jungle. Yeah. My generation is Fury and Usyk in the sand dunes. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was like, it's a once in a lifetime thing. But yeah, to answer your question in the most roundabout way possible, it would definitely be Tyson, because I feel like I could get a serious conversation out of him, and it's just his the way he thinks and the way his mind works boggles me. Yeah. So yeah. Definitely.
And he Tyson speaks from the heart, like
100%. An honest guy. Wears his heart in his sleeve, and I know anything he tell you wouldn't be bullshit either.
Yeah, yeah. Good man. Well, Jesus, keep Burke. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for giving us your time. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks a million.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, love.
Good man. And good luck in March.
No worries. Thank you.
Over now, guys.